Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to cast shadows geometrically from a solid object, and we're going to take a look at this shadow worksheet. Let's get started. I'm working here in AutoCAD today because I'm at home and I don't have the camera and the drafting table to show you how to do this by hand, but it is the exact same steps. I'm just drawing with clicks instead of a pencil. All right, so let's start with a simple box, all right, or a cube, and we see it here in multi-view format. We've got the front view, we've got the top or plan view, and we've got the right side view. Notice they are aligned with each other. And we've decided that our sun is coming in at these angles. It's got an azimuth of 135 degrees, and that's measured clockwise from north. So I've done a little sketch here. So starting from north, you come around 135 degrees. Right, and then that sun is in this location and shining down in this direction to your site. Right. And then the altitude is going to be 45 degrees measured up from the horizon. So that would be, horizon is this flat line, 45 degrees up in this direction, or it's equally valid, could be up in this direction. It depends on which elevation that we're looking at. Okay. So let's start by looking at our top view or our plan view. And the first thing you want to do is realize that the azimuth angle has to do with the top or plan view, right? Not the altitude. So we're going to take each important point, which is these four corners in our plan view, and we're going to cast a guideline in the direction of your azimuth angle. Right? Let me get started. All right, so we know that the shadow is going this direction, but we don't know how far, and that's where we have to look at our elevation views. Right? The first thing we're going to need is a ground plane. Our elevation is sitting on a ground. All right. And then we are going to realize that in this front view, the shadows are going this way. The sun is coming in this direction. All right, so we're going to use this angle. It's an altitude angle, and it's coming in at 45 degrees in this direction. I'm going to take this angle, and I'm going to cast guidelines from each important point in the front view. There's only two, one here and one here. All right, so if we were to look at the shadow, if we were able to see the shadow on the ground, which we can't because we're in the perpendicular view here, it would be right in this area. Okay. So the next step is to relate these two views. And what we're interested in is the intersection of this shadow and where it hits the ground. So I'm going to take this point and I will cast a guideline up to the plan view. All right, and I'm going to do that for the other spot too. Okay. So what we have here is in this location on the box, all right, the shadow casts in this direction and it goes for this length. Then it's going to go back, all right, until it hits this intersection. It's going to turn to the right because we're casting the shadow of this edge right here. And then it will connect again to this vertical edge of the box. I'm going to outline that so you can see what I'm doing here. All right, and that's our solution. We've got a simple box. It's throwing a shadow in this direction in the azimuth. All right, it's throwing a shadow in this direction in the elevation, and we have outlined it on the plan. All right. We're not going to see any cast shadow on the front or right sides. And in fact, you can see that these, since the light is coming this way, these are completely in the sun, and we don't have to do anything here. So let's move to our next exercise on the shadow worksheet homework. And in this one, we've got our object here in a multi-view format. This is its top view, this is its front view, and here is its right side view. And I have forgotten to give it a ground line, so let me go ahead and do that. And the assignment instructions say that we are working with 135-degree azimuth from north, right, and 60-degree altitude, not 45 this time, we're changing it up, from the horizon. So looking at our little diagram here, that 135 degrees measures all the way around from north, right? You can use your 45-degree triangle right here. And it comes from the solar location into our site location, right, or our object location. So that's the direction. The altitude is going to be from the horizon up 60 degrees, or alternately from the horizon up 60 degrees, depending on which elevation we're looking at. Okay. All right, so let's get started now that we know our angles. We're going to look at the top view or the plan view, and we are going to start with the azimuth angle. All right, goes along with the plan view, and we're going to cast these guidelines from each important point on that drawing. Okay, notice that this object is slightly more complex than the box, right? So it's got more guidelines. Next, let's take a look at this front elevation. And just like with our last example, the shadows are going this direction. So we're going to want this angle in the elevation view. And we are going to cast that down to the ground plane in all of these important points. All right. Again, notice that there are more of them than there were before. So we can start from kind of this left corner. The shadow is going to go in this direction. How far is it going to go? Excuse me. We know it will cast all the way down to here on the ground. So I'm going to draw a line from that intersection up. All right. And then the shadow will come along to the back. And just like our last block, it's going to turn. How far back does it go? Let's look at this back left corner. Right? Notice it's the same height. Boom. So that's going to be the same distance. So this intersection right here is important. So I'm going to draw a line from that one. And because I'm following along with this red one, our object, I'm going to go this direction, right? Alternately, right? Alternately, if we could do this another way by finding this corner, this back right corner, right? And finding where it stops, casting a guideline here. Notice we got the exact same point, right? So our shadow is going to go, let me trace it here. It's going to go here. Oops, change the color so you can see it. Okay, so that's the shadow of kind of the lower section of our our object here, but there is also that piece that pops out in the middle. Where does that go? Well, looking here at the elevation, I'm going to zoom in just a second here. Looking at the elevation, we can see that the shadow goes and it lands on kind of the shoulder of our object, right? Zoom back out. So I'm going to find that intersection right here and cast that guideline up. Right. So we can see that a little bit of shadow lands on the object here. And let me, what's it called? Highlight that for you so that you can see where that goes. It's going to follow along with this angle and then come back in that direction. Okay. There's not going to be any shadow over on this side. You can see that the sun just kind of hits that side. All right, so all of this is in the sun. But we are going to get, see this part that pops up? We're going to see a little bit of that shadow up here. And so let's figure out where that happens. And what we're interested in is the height difference between the top of our object and all the way to the ground. All right, so let me zoom in again. Here's the top of our object, and we're looking for its distance all the way to the ground right here. Okay, I'm going to take that line and cast that up. Whoops, I had the wrong color. All right, so we know that this point right here casts the shadow all the way there. All right, so let's find this other corner. All right, and it has a shadow that goes here and then along and to this point. All right, so what does that mean up here? It means that our shadow is going to come along and this way, and then it's going to do an angle from here to here. It's going to come across and then back. Let me highlight that for you. So starting here, right, because it's at this angle and it's popping out, and it's going to travel at the sun angle until the intersection of our grid line that we're interested in. All right, it's going to travel perpendicular to the next intersection that we were interested in, and then back to the main body of the shadow right here. Okay, so what we're seeing is kind of this corner, this U-shaped corner right here, right, popping up. All right, I'm going to fill these shadows in so that you can see them. And zoom back out here. Oops, I forgot one. Got it. All right. Now, in this case, are we going to see any shadows on this elevation? I can say no. Are we going to see any shadows on this elevation? I can say no. Okay, so this would be our final solution. Just to make it a little easier for you to see, I'm going to turn off those guidelines. Right, that's what we're going to get. Turn those back on again. Yeah,